Thank you for listening to Awakened Radio Network at awakenedradio.net. Join us to take part in our live chat room, our forum. Check out who's going to be interviewed next on our interviews page. AwakenedRadio.net is brought to you in part by TheBarefootGuru.com. Visit TheBarefootGuru.com today to find out how you can take part in the Creative Playground Mastermind Group. You will learn how to be awake, aware, alert, and to create consciously the life that you really do want to experience. Visit TheBarefootGuru.com today. AwakenedRadio.net is brought to you by you, the listeners, those of you who tune in and listen to us, who take part in our broadcast, who join us on our website to chat with us and interact with us. Those of you who also shop our Awakened store and help us stay on the air and stay growing. You can also support our station by visiting awakenedradio.net and clicking on the donate button. Your love gifts help us to keep the station up and growing strong. Thank you for being part of Awakened Radio Network at awakenedradio.net.
Welcome to your Unfolding Senses. I'm your host, Ragozzine, and on this show, we'll be exploring everything intuition. Let's get started. Hello, this is Rob Ragozzine, and you're listening to Your Unfolding Senses. Let's give a big thanks to Chris for her great show, Farm Girl by 40. Now let's begin this show, which is all about intuition and opening to all of your full sensory perceptions. Now, this week we'll be talking about dreams, so please do feel welcome to call in and talk about some of your own that you might have had or questions about your dreams, and that's the number to do that is 334-649-7204, or connect through Skype by connecting to Awakened Radio, or of course join us at awakenedradio.net and click on the live chat tab and come and join us. And please feel free to call in and post and chat if you have questions about a symbol or a sign, recurring numbers, or a dream, or any other intuitive event that you'd like to talk about. Any questions from last week, which we talked about archetypes last week. If you're so inclined, any and all donations are greatly appreciated. We're all here helping you for no cost to you. So if you're enjoying the show or any of our shows, please find it in your heart to click the donate button, which is at the top of all the screens. We'll have another intuition challenge this week. I've shortened it down to picking 3 objects because I think that's easier, and I've been doing it on my fan page this week, and people have been having some fun with that. So, and I was even challenged this week by someone, so that was really great, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And this week, like I said before, we're talking about dreams, and we'll continue to talk about our chakras, continue to talk about allowing, listening to your body, and of course, how all this relates to intuition. But first, let's do a short meditation so we can open more fully to our bodies and connect with our intuition on a deeper level. And sitting comfortably or lying down and taking some slow breaths, making sure you're comfortable where you are, closing your eyes, slowly taking some gentle breaths, and releasing any stress, releasing any jitteriness, and gently connecting with a deeper sense of inner knowing, inner calm, inner tranquility, slowing down, slowly listening to your body, finding out what it's saying, and just noticing. And allow this state of tranquility to settle in and fill your body. And believe, feel, and know that you can connect to your answers. They're all right there. They're all within. Continue breathing and spending some time here connecting to your body and all of your senses. You might ask for a message, but you might be getting symbols or hearing things or smelling things that aren't in the physical world. Allow whatever comes to come. Perhaps a symbol, a word, or a phrase, or perhaps an answer to a question you already have. If nothing comes, that's okay. Just continue breathing and relaxing, feeling calm, feeling tranquil, allowing yourself to feel more and more relaxed. After a few more moments here, when you're ready, you can begin to gently increase your breath and slowly begin to bring your awareness back to the room, and slowly, gently, and calmly begin to open your eyes and connect back to the world around you. And when you're ready, joining us here at your Unfolding Senses. Now, I have the game of 3 ready, which is 3 objects, and I've picked one of them. So I have a dragon, a stone, and a crayon. If you can correctly identify which object is on top of my desk in the sacred magic object spot, you've won the intuitive guessing game, intuitive challenge for the night. And we're talking about dreams tonight. So, again, feel free to call in or post your questions in chat room and post your intuitive hits about the secret object, what it might be. Oh, Justin gets it. Bing, it's a crayon. If you can you name the color of the crayon, Justin? If you can name the color of the crayon, the size of the crayon, you get extra points. And it's yellow. So Justin wins the first intuitive challenge of the night. Good going. Congratulations. That's really good connecting to your senses there. We'll do another one later in the show. But for now, no, it's not. That's the thing. It's not guessing. It's connecting to your senses, all of your senses. Whether you see it, whether you smell it, whether you hear a word that says crane in your mind, whatever comes to you. Maybe you get a flash of yellow. Use that. Don't dismiss anything. And it's not about guessing what it might be. It's about connecting to an intuitive thought, an intuitive perception, and bringing that into your greater awareness and using that. At first, you might have to keep a journal and log your guesses. Well, they're not guesses. Your intuitive hits and going with just seeing what you were seeing. I was working with a can of olives this week, and I had some really good hits on that. People were mentioning yellow and orange, and the can is yellow and orange, and saying it was smooth and round. And they finally got to olives, but not right away, but they were able to connect into the roundness of the can and the smoothness of the olives. So it's best to not dismiss anything and make sure, at least in the beginning, that you record your initial impressions so that you know how you best work with your senses. Maybe you see an image, maybe you get a color, a shape. Just work with that and keep paying more and more attention to it. Okay. Justin in the chat room and says he's not guessing, and I said that before, I guess, but it's all, like he says, it's about feeling, seeing, and presence. So really being comfortable with yourself, really grounding and spending time, regular time in meditation, clearing a space in your home for meditation and maybe just silence and sitting with yourself and being comfortable and bringing objects into that are important to your intuition and development of your overall connection to yourself. But we'll get deeper into that later in the show. If you have any questions about dreams, you can post them in the chat or call in. Before we get deeper into the dreams, I'd like to talk about compassion, because that's very important when you're working with a dream. It's really about having a sense of gentleness with yourself, so you're not forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to do, because the dreams really are about expressing something through your body, through your voice, through action. I have a quote from Sandra Ingerman. She says, "The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, nor from there to here. Nay, the greatest distance in the existence of man is from his mind to his heart. Unless he conquers that distance, he can never learn to soar like an eagle and realize the immensity within." So we're really connecting with ourselves, and the dream brings a message on how to do that. And it might be to connect with a skill or a talent like singing or dancing or poetry or art, and it's beginning to express that through externalization of that in the real world. So bringing out your art, bringing out your creativity. And Justin in the chat room is mentioning, please discuss your connection to the one in your life, friend or relative, female, who is sad or grieving, if you don't mind. And I don't know, you might be connecting with a dream I'm talking about later, one of my own dreams, which I only got a glimpse of and had a few words in there, and I'll talk about that later. And it's really about a lot about compassion, which I'm talking about first. So it's really important to have a connection with your heart and to allow the feelings that come up around the dream to come through. And it's not necessarily about thinking about this. It's about allowing the process to move through you, allowing the feeling to move through you, allowing the grief, allowing the creativity. Some dreams that are really popular, and people always ask me, what about dreams about sensuality? Well, those are very important too, and it can be very important to find a safe and healthful expression of that. So it might be to go out and connect with someone and experience that and have fun with that, but it's also about connecting with yourself, and there are many levels to expressing that type of dream. And it might be that the dream is expressing a darker shadow aspect of yourself, what you're hiding from yourself, what you're projecting out into the world onto others, like fear. And whatever isn't being expressed, it's about finding a way to express that. Again, be safe, be engaged, begin to take small steps. That kind of dream might be a fantasy, but it might also be something, like I was saying before, that needs to be expressed. Ask yourself, what needs to come out? How can I live my life in a way that allows it to be fully expressed? So you might, obviously we've all had these type of dreams. So next time you have one, look to how it might help you to express a part of your life that isn't fully being expressed, and maybe something that's not being expressed at all. But don't look to the books for your answers. Look to be empowered. Look to be, as I was saying this week in several of my posts, the author of your own life. You don't necessarily need the book right away, just you. Connect with you. And once you understand and get better at dream interpretation, you can go back to the books and see how it correlates to what you've come up with for yourself. So just continue to do that, and you'll do a great job. And the first step really is to step through the fear about what analyzing your dreams might bring up, and that's where the compassion really comes into play. Just bring your hands to your heart and breathe and say something like, this too will pass, and eventually you'll get better and better so that you can handle some of the difficult emotions that come through. And in the chat room, Justin says the crayon appears to be standard size. And yes, it is. The tip is kind of beaten off, but it's actually lemon yellow. So that was the secret object that he guessed earlier in the show. And we'll do another one after we come back from our break and at the show halftime. Now, I mentioned this last week. And Donna in the chat room says when she sees Justin, that's the color she sees, and that's the bright yellow. Perhaps that's his aura, and we can talk about those in another show. But this show is really about dreams, or it's his chakras. Could be any number of things. Could be an angel, and could look to the lower chakras and see if those colors, his favorite color he mentioned was orange, to see how those are prominent within his chakras. But he'd have to do that. We can get into Carillion photography, but it's best to try to figure out what the colors are for yourself and ask yourself, what do they mean for me? And I mentioned last week that part of really connecting to your intuition is really stepping out of the chaos and the stress of our daily life and making a spot in our homes, our whole homes actually, to be welcoming and inviting and want to spend time there, because that connects back to the compassion. It's caring for yourself, nurturing yourself, and allowing yourself a place to relax and rejuvenate. And my dream that I'd like to talk about, I called But Mom, because I only got a scrap of a dream, and it was about two or three children, I'm not sure of the exact number, and they had some plastic toys, and they were playing, and for some reason, she was busy or disengaged, and at the end of the dream, the children are saying, "But Mom, we want to play with you," and then the dream is over. Now, this is a really good example that I posted, because lots of people always only remember a tiny, tiny scrap, and that's the whole dream. That's all I remember about it. So I began to write about it and work with it. So the images that I got in the dream were the children, the plastic toys, and the mother figure. And since the children are really engaged in play, I started to ask myself whether or not play was important to me. And of course, play is always important to all of us, but it's important to me. And if this dream was for a client, I might say, if this were my own dream, I'd begin to look at your time spent in fun and spontaneous activity. So that's what I've been looking at for myself, and really looking at how I might engage in the world in a deeper level. And as I've been inspired by the previous show, Farm Girl by 40, I've been getting more into organic foods and joining some local groups about um, raising some food and being part of a co-op so that I can really connect with myself on a deeper level and help the world out, I guess, in a way that helps to be more healthful and more, what's the word I want to say? I guess more healing and healthful. It's best not to force a dream meaning on someone. So speaking as if this were my dream, when you're giving an interpretation to someone, I'm giving it to myself, so I don't really have to do that. But so speaking in this way really allows the dreamer to hear a possible interpretation that's compassionate, that may apply to him or it may not. It could also apply just as well to the person giving the interpretation, you, the dream interpreter, or me. So always listen to your words as you give a dream interpretation, as they can really easily apply right back to you. And if you're in a group, the others may be able to connect with their own intuition and deliver some of their own interpretations for the dreamer. And for this dream, we might hear from parents about how they hear this all the time from the children, that they want to play with their parents. If you're a parent and I'm not, you might hear it often. As a parent, this dream could really take on another flavor and relate to issues of parenting and spending more time with your family. And Colin in the chat room mentions he rarely remembers dreams, and I've talked about this before. The best thing to do is to keep a simple pad and pencil. I know that's primitive today, but keep a pad and pencil by the bed, and when you wake up, record whatever scraps you remember. It doesn't have to be big. This dream, it was just the sentence and seeing the quick flash of the children playing with the mother. So just record whatever you have in your mind or how you feel when you wake up and work with that. Spend some time every day working with whatever you remember from your dreams. If you don't remember something one day, go back to the previous dream from another day and rework it and look to see how you might take it to a deeper level. Now, we've only looked at this dream as a cursory initial examination. And what you'll end up with are some symbols like the children, the toys, and the mother. And you'll have a cursory idea of what the dream might mean for the dreamer. And for this dream, I mentioned that it seems to relate to a deeper need for fun, downtime, and play. You could then ask, where might this apply to your life? But you don't have to, as you're explaining it, it's not about going overboard in details. Yes, there is an aspect of vulnerability that's important, but you don't want to overshare and get into some complicated discussion about what's going on and why this and that you've tried didn't work or what won't work. It's really about looking at the dream and seeing how it relates and can apply to your life. And I see quite a bit of activity in the chat room, but I'm not sure what it's applying to, so I'll continue. If you have a dream question, you can post it in chat, or you can call us at Awakened Radio at our number of 334-649-7204, or join us in Skype at Awakened Radio. And we have 5 or 6 minutes before break, so I welcome anyone to come and join us on the phone after we come back and ask a question about their own dreams. And Kate said she might call, so I recommend if she's willing, to call in and talk about her own experiences. And don't be shy. If you want to call in, be welcoming, and we'll be easy on you And just remember to have compassion and be gentle with yourself. And we're friendly and supportive here. As Donna says, we love you. So, as we're preparing for break, I have a quote from Harold Kemp in The Art of Spiritual Dreaming. He says, "Dreams touch every level of our life. They may let us glimpse the future or give suggestions for healing or share insights into our relationships. Above all, they will steer us more directly toward God." And again, if you plan on calling us when we come back, it's at Awaken Radio to Skype or call 334-649-7204 or join us at awakenradio.net and click on the live chat tab. After this show, we'll have Christina coming up with her Aurora Connection, and it's all about guiding you in your inner light, connecting to intuition. Same thing as this show, so don't feel like it's the end of the night. After this show ends, we have at least another hour and a half to go. And as we enter break, I'll leave you with this quote, and it's about some interesting research that's going on at the University of Pennsylvania, and it's talking about food and sleep, which is very important, and nutrition. The professor says, although many of us inherently recognize that there is a relationship between what we eat and how we sleep, there have been very few scientific studies that have explored this connection, especially in a real-world connection. And I'll post this in my forum. It's Michael Granger, an instructor of psychiatry and a member of the Center for Sleep and Circadian Neurobiology at the University of Penn. So I thought his research is pretty cool, and I'll have that posted up. And if we have time, I'll also talk about some other sleep research that's happening. But we only have about 30 seconds left or so. So we'll come back and we'll talk more about dreams. And hopefully we'll be talking with Kate when we get back. Thanks for listening, and please come back and enjoy the show again.
You are listening to the Awakened Radio Network. Visit our website where you can chat with our hosts at awakenedradio.net. If you'd like to listen to us on the go, visit tunein.com. Download their free app and then look for Awakened Radio. You can take us everywhere. Tell all your friends how to listen to the Awakened Radio Network. Awakened Radio is a people-powered radio station. We are occupying the airwaves with the message of personal empowerment, encouraging our listeners to create consciously, to be aware, to be honest, and to heal those areas of our lives that are really starting to bug us. Join our host at awakenedradio.net, where you will find discussions on energy work, meditation, politics, UFOs, aliens, and everything in between. Awakenedradio.net, the people-powered information radio station. Did you know that you can host your own broadcast with the Awakened Radio Network? Join us at awakenedradio.net. Look up at the top where it says Services. Click on Be a Host. Check there for information on how to share your message with our global listening audience. You can also add Awakened Radio to Skype and contact our station manager, or email the station at awakenedradio@gmail.com. Find out how easy, fun, and awesome it is to be part of the Awakened Radio Network family.
Welcome to your Unfolding Senses. I'm your host, Rob Ragozzine, and on this show, we'll be exploring everything intuition. Let's get started. And we're back. Rob Ragozzine with your Unfolding Senses. And if you'd like to call in, it's 334-649-7204. Or add Awaken Radio to Skype, or come to awakenradio.net and click on the live chat tab. Now, back to my dream, unless we have a caller. I don't know. Did Kate want to call in? I see Kate had wanted to call in. And I don't see anyone connecting, so I will continue with my dream. Oh, here we go. Hello?
Caller, you're on the line. May we have your first name, please?
I have a 402 area code. It's me, she says. I don't hear her. We don't hear you. Okay, we'll let you try again. Now, I was discussing my dream, and it was about children playing, and here we are back.
Hello.
Oh, is this Kate?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes. You might have to mute your chat player.
I'm sorry?
You might have to mute the station.
Okay.
There's a player on the page. Just click the pause button.
Okay. I've hit the mute button.
Did you have a question? Hello? Oh, the wrong mute button. Not in Skype, but on the web page. You have to hit the mute button.
Obviously, we're not hearing her, Rob.
Okay. Well, I'll continue about my dream since we're having problems with this. So there's the mother and the children. And as I was saying, it's best not to force dream meaning on anyone, including yourself. And if you're trying to call in, you'll have to mute the player on the Awaken Radio live chat room page, but not in Skype. If you're calling in with Skype, I don't know how you're connecting. Now, you could ask about where the dream applies to your life, and we're just looking to identify major themes and issues in your life. As I was talking about before, you don't want to go overboard in your discussion. It's just on looking at major themes and issues, not a lengthy discussion. Just pay attention to those areas of your life where the message seems most appropriate and briefly discuss them, or if you're alone, obviously, write them in your journal and just notice how they might begin to apply to your life. For me, it feels appropriate to apply it to my social life and in brief, although I'm active now in lots of groups and activities, it feels a little dull and not sustaining, as I was mentioning this week in some of my posts. And I'm trying to squeeze in some new activities, not squeeze in, but bring them in because they are engaging and they are creative and they're part of what I'd like to do, like a food co-op, which helps to grow organic food. And I think it's very important, and we all should find a way to bring more of that into our lives. But I'm not a doctor, so listen to your doctor and what he says. But those things seem very cool to explore for me, but might not be satisfying to the children in this dream. So there's that balance. And what's also important is to look at ego and shadow. What is your ego saying? Your ego might be scrambling to come up with a quick answer and say, yeah, the dream's about this. Don't go looking over there at the shadow, at what's hidden and ugly and maybe closer to the truth. But that's not always the case. It's just something to be aware of. Next, we want to look at the urgency of the dream. So in my dream, the children were asking their mother for attention, but they were not having a tantrum or crying. So the issue is important, but not necessarily at a crisis point, at least for the children. It's still important to try to address the issue for me and for you, but there's still time here in this dream to begin to make some changes, so you can begin to ask yourself, well, what kinds of changes? Well, I've already mentioned that I'd like to do some of these activities like the food co-op, and I just got an email just today for a similar meeting that meets once a month that talks about food and, I guess, vegetarianism and veganism and things of that nature. And it's a potluck kind of thing, and that's next Tuesday, so I think I'll be going if there's not still 12 feet of snow here. Next, you could ask the dreamer, if they don't already know, what kinds of changes they might like to bring into their life to ask them. We're not really getting 12 feet of snow. I don't think anyone knows how much snow we're getting, but a lot. Again, detail isn't important. The dreamer just has to find a way to begin to bring the concept of the dream into his waking life and begin to externalize the message. So the dream is giving you a message. It's up to you to begin to figure it out and to bring some of that power out into your life. And this is where a lot of people get scared and they say, well, I don't know what to do. I just had a dream. I looked it up in a dream book. It says X, Y, Z. And then they throw the book down and walk away, and that was their dream interpretation. No, that's just the beginning. Once you've had the dream and written it down and begin to explore it, that's the very tip of the iceberg. The next steps are to, as I was saying, to connect with that message and to take steps like I've mentioned. I'm joining a food co-op. I'm looking at joining this activity next week where I can meet some other people that are probably going through some similar experiences similar to my own, and I'll be engaged and have fun and find some new ways to find my food, because I've been getting into juicing, and especially since I noticed the organics are just as expensive as the regular food, why not buy organic? It doesn't make any sense not to, at least in my mind. But again, support yourself in a way that's appropriate for you. So for me, that's the part of the calling of this dream, at least a part of the calling is to begin to look at how I'm supporting myself and bring that into my waking life. And that's a compassionate action that I can take. And as I'm reminding you, it's always go back to how can you compassionately apply the dream message to your life. And for me, that's part of the way is to begin to look at the food And again, if you were here for some other shows, you've heard me talk about my stove dream. So that really takes a powerful message and clarifies it, for me at least. But we're still talking about this dream, so it's about, again, I have to come back to the fun and look at it as I engage in my regular daily routine. And as I was looking at speaking about the dreams this week, I really recognized that it's all about empowerment. And again, don't just record your dreams, then flip the book down, as I was saying before, and you have your dream meaning, and then that's it. No, it's just the start. And you really want to be empowered and find a way to connect with that power. So as I began to look at the mother figure, and I guess this is the energy that Justin was talking about, I recognized that she was tired of carrying some of the compassion, some of the responsibility. And when you get better at dream analysis, you'll be able to go back into the dream or sit down and have a conversation with the characters from the dream. So I talked with the mother figure, and that was the feeling that I got from her. And she really wants to let go of having to be the one to have that part of the responsibility. So as I step up in that power, in that responsibility, she can relax and let go of that, and it's a kind of a burden for that part of myself. And it's about developing those skills for myself. And you may have similar dreams where you have a character that shows up and asks for a change. And this change, for me, is about having compassion for myself and looking at how I can better nurture and take care of myself. And obviously the organic food and the juicing is a really good step. And then the next step is obviously to go, well, not obviously, but it might be to go meet some new people and talk with them and see what they've discovered for themselves. It's about empowering me in that way. So I go out and meet some new people and then go back and again, after I've done that, and talk with the dream character, the mother figure in this dream, and see what she has to say about what I've been doing. And you can do the same thing for your characters in your dream. Now, we still have time if you'd like to call in and talk about one of your dreams that you've been exploring at 334-649-7204 or clicking on Awakened Radio in Skype or coming to awakenedradio.net and clicking on the live chat tab. And I mentioned the sensuality dreams. Again, very popular. People always ask me about it. Again, it could be fantasy, as I was mentioning before, but more likely, as I was talking about characters that are really parts of ourselves, these characters in these dreams are extensions of ourselves, and they relate quite often to a part of ourselves that really is crying out for a fuller, more deeper expression in outer life. So you might look to yourself and ask, what am I not expressing in my life? What am I dismissing as being not good enough at? For instance, you might have an avocation involving singing and you love to sing, but you push it away saying, I'm not competitive enough, I'm not good enough. It's about letting go of that and really experiencing the passion and the joy and the full power that the expressing the singing makes you feel. It's the same energy that you would feel as if you were in this relationship in outer life. And sometimes the dreams are really very clear and they drop something in your lap, like the stove dream that I've talked about several times. And sometimes they're not so clear, like this dream with the women and her children. But obviously, it's about connecting to what gives you true passion in your life. And it happens to be singing or any number of things. I'm mentioning singing because that's something a lot of people really connect with and really feel joy when they do it. But then when a karaoke night comes up, they're hiding in the back of the room, and they're really the best singers in the club, but they don't want to sing. So it's about honoring your talents and honoring yourself as a person and having compassion. And no matter how good you are, it's about just finding a way to express your talents and seeing where that might lead you next. It doesn't have to be a full-blown job or vocation. It could be something that you do just to express that particular quality of your life. It needs expression. All of our parts of ourselves need to find a way to be expressed, and that's what the dreams are really bringing into our lives. It's mostly about expressing some particular aspect of yourselves that isn't necessarily being fully expressed. And as I talk about tarot and runes and things, the dreams are, I think, in a way, a little bit, I don't want to say better, but it's since they're an extension of you, you're not relying on outer tools. You're relying on developing a true connection with yourself as you engage in a conversation with your dreams. You're really connecting to yourself. And by journaling them and recording them over time, you'll begin to notice particular patterns and see what you've been able to shift and move in your life. And it's about being empowered and being your own intuitive and not going out and paying someone some ridiculous fee like $100 to get a reading that might not even be accurate for you, when you could just go to your dreams and get the information and advice that is probably 7 times better or 100 times better that any psychic would give you on any given day, because it's all about you. It's you talking to you. So really give it a try and find a way to make space in your life for connecting with your dreams. And if you have to work with a book, find one that doesn't necessarily give you the meanings of every particular symbol, but it gives exercises to try and fun things to do to explore the dream world, rather than telling you what a dream means. That's disempowering. You want to work towards empowering yourself. And if you'd like to work with me, as Donna mentions in the chat room, you can check out the Awaken store, click on the Divine Connections section, and you can get a reading, and we can talk about dreams that you're having and whatever is important to you in the moment. And what's up for a lot of people this year in 2013 is compassion and relationships with ourselves, relationships with others. I get questions all the time about how can I be more compatible with my partner, and you're not talking. Well, if you're not talking, how can you be compatible? And that goes back to your dreams. If you're not talking to your dreams, you're not going to be compatible with yourself or anyone. So it really starts with you and honoring yourself and developing an intimate relationship with yourself. And then you'll be able to connect with others on a whole new level. And I was looking at some research this week, and I mentioned the research happening at the University of Pennsylvania earlier in the show. But as I was traveling the world in the Facebook, I found someone that was exploring blue color photo meditation. So finding a picture of a blue flower or something really deeply blue might help you to have better sleep and reduce stress. So you might try to do this. If you're a photographer, take some blue pictures of your own and display them in your bedroom, and that might help you to feel a little bit more calmer and more relaxed. I have one of Odin, and I didn't realize that it was so blue until now, but I'm definitely going to have to bring some more blue photography into my bedroom and maybe even paint the walls blue, because I do feel the tranquility from the color blue. And as I look around, I notice that my shades are blue, so that's important. And the quote from Meg Hill says, "Indigo blue is the color of thought, perception, and intuition. This color calms the mind and emotions and promotes restful sleep. So you'll be better able to dream and have deeper, longer lasting sleep, and obviously have more dreams that you can remember." So try working with blue somehow into your life. Maybe wear more blue clothing, more blue pajamas, for instance. If you don't have the budget for painting, maybe just hang up some blue pictures. And as I was looking at some essential oils, I've been experimenting with a few of them, lavender being one of them. And my research led me to someone that was talking about switching them up. So if you're using one, you might try to use another one on one night. So use lavender one night and then maybe use like valerian the next night, because they'll be more effective that way if you don't get set up in a regular pattern with always sleeping with lavender oil. And again, things like these, you might consult your doctor, but lavender, valerian can help you to have a more calm and restful sleep. You can look up the essential oils and find ones that work for you. I talked about them in a previous show. And it's really about connecting with those oils that work for you, because you might open it up and smell it, and it smells bad, rancid, or horrible to you, but to another person it smells like the best perfume on the planet. So find one that works for you. In the chat room, Donna mentions putting amethyst under your pillow or lapis. I guess those are stones. Well, amethyst is a stone. And Kate mentions that lapis is excellent because it opens communication and not just intuition. So find oils or colors that help you to sleep better, and also remember that things like acupressure or reflexology or tapping might help you to feel better relaxed and balanced, so you'll be better able to sleep and alleviate having insomnia and better able to dream. So as I'm mentioning insomnia, I want to mention that a lot of people wake up at the same exact time each night, like 111 or 222 or 234. Just notice if that's the case for you, and maybe get up and actually add that to your journal as well. And as I mentioned in a previous show, you might look to see how the numbers might relate to your chakras. So your column mentions he sees threes, so look at how your third chakra is in your life. And he mentions he has 3 goats and 3 chickens and all that. So look at your third chakra and how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your security, how you feel about your sensuality, how you feel about relationships, how you're able to talk about them. Because not only does it involve the third chakra, we have to look back to the first chakra and the second chakra as well, because although those might be active and open, they all have to communicate clearly in a balanced way, and obviously your attention is being brought to the third, so begin to pay attention to how that might impact your life and perhaps study it. But the best way might be to actually take your hands in the meditation and bring them to the solar plexus area and really feel into how you feel about it. We're coming to the end of the show, but there's still Christina coming up next with the Aurora Connection, so give her your listening attention, and perhaps she'll be talking about this too, but I don't know what her topic is tonight, but I listened last week for the first time, and it was a really great show. But if you'd like to contact me, you can contact me at Intuition by Rob on Twitter, or Your Unfolding Senses is my fan book page on Facebook, so like it. And I'm not really selling anything there. It's just news and information and what I'm talking about this week, the coming week on the show, and the questions. And I have challenges up there. Had some really great challenges this week. And someone actually came and challenged me, and I was able to determine what was in the box this person had given me. And one thing that you might want to recognize is there was papers in the box before another object was placed in there, so that's kind of confusing. You want to have a fresh fresh container before you start putting objects in there for guessing. And you might work with this with your family and children just to see how you can develop your intuition together and try that. So again, you can reach me at Your Unfolding Senses, and I think I have enough fan book page likes to just type that in. I'm not sure, but Collins posted it in the chat room, so you can go there. You can follow me on Twitter at Intuition by Rob, and again, I talk about what I'm going to be discussing on upcoming shows. I post questions, links to the intuitive challenges, so feel free to follow me there and ask questions. I've been getting a lot of relationship questions this week, so pay attention to how you are in your relationship to yourself and start there, and then your other relationships will be a lot better, a lot easier, and it will just happen. And you can also go to my forum here at Awakened Radio Network, click on the forum page, and I have links to some of my websites where you can click on those and go right to my websites. And I'll also be posting about tonight's show and the links that I talked about. So thanks for listening tonight, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for Christina.
Look over there. I have a 25% discount. Click it with your mouth and you won't make it angry.
Awakened Radio, your people-powered, online, always on, always something interesting, motivating, inspiring to listen to. Awakened Radio at awakenedradio.net. Find out how to host your own show. Take part in our shows. Interact with us on our forums. Shop at our Awakened store. There's always a lot of excitement happening at Awakened Radio. awakenedradio.net. Visit us and take part today.